Welcome to the Explainer. Lately, there's this heavy existential dread hanging over all of us, right? The fear that AI is just going to completely replace human creativity. Well, today, we're taking that head on. We're going to shatter the myth of the AI neo-god, cut right through the marketing hype, and uncover the actual fundamental magic of human authorship in the digital age. It really is the central cultural question of our time. When you sit there and watch an algorithm spit out this absolutely stunning visual masterpiece or write a massively complex block of code in literally 3 seconds, it naturally triggers this huge fear. We start wondering, is our human spark, our actual value as creators, being replaced by something cold, fast, and mechanical? It definitely feels like we're becoming obsolete.
But let's look at Section 1, the AI creator myth.
Okay, let's dive right into this and pop the hood. We need to completely dismantle this illusion that artificial intelligence is some independent, conscious creator. To get why the machine isn't a true creator, we got to look at philosopher Hannah Arendt. She hit the nail on the head when she pointed out that true creation requires praxis. In everyday terms, that means it requires biological friction, emotional struggle, and a real lived societal context. Art is about fighting your way through the messy maze of life. And AI? It doesn't feel joy. It doesn't experience grief. It faces zero biological friction. It fundamentally lacks the whole human shebang. Decades ago, cultural theorist Roland Barthes came up with this concept of a scripter. And honestly, today's AI is exactly that. It's essentially a mechanical vessel. Think of it like a von Neumann Babelfish that just processes, mimics, and recombines massive databases of existing cultural text. It orchestrates all this data without actually comprehending a single word of it. It's a mimic, an enabler, absolutely not an originator.
Which brings us to Section 2, the wood chipper effect.
To really understand this scripter, we need to pull back the curtain on this grand computational illusion and get right down to the bare physical silicon. Prepare to have your assumptions totally challenged here. Look at this staggering number, 80 to 90%. That is the percentage of modern AI compute cycles that are actually just hardware-level approximations. When these massive language models are doing their heavy lifting, they aren't handing you an exact mathematical truth. They're fundamentally just guessing the nearest answer that's hardwired into the silicon.
To wrap our heads around this, we have to contrast two very different parts of a computer's physical brain. On one side, we've got the floating point unit, or what we can call the FPU gambler. It's incredibly fast, but it's lossy and probabilistic. It's essentially throwing darts at a board hoping to hit the right answer. On the flip side, we have the exact arithmetic logic unit, the ALU surveyor. The surveyor is strict, it's discrete, and it relies on 100% deterministic silicon logic. But the catch? Most AI relies heavily on the gambler.
And because that FPU gambler is just approximating data, it causes something experts call the wood chipper effect. When non-deterministic hardware just guesses the math, the exact path of that data, its provenance, is permanently destroyed. It's like a giant blender. You might know exactly what fruits you tossed in, but you can never ever perfectly reverse engineer that smoothie back into the original apples and bananas, right? The machine completely loses the ability to honor the thousands of original human artists, writers, and creators whose exhausting labor was, well, chopped up to train it in the first place.
Let's move on to Section 3, the semiotic bridge.
So here's the million-dollar question. How do we force this messy guessing machine to execute our exact human intent with absolute physical certainty? Well, we have to build a semiotic bridge using text. Text is our universal deterministic interface. We use structured text to map our beautifully fluid, highly associative human minds, our OS alpha, directly onto the unyielding, strict physical execution of the processor. By doing this, we are quite literally tricking rocks into thinking with lightning. Text safely compiles our boundless imagination right into physical hardware execution. And this brilliantly illustrates why we absolutely must reject algorithmic distortion in favor of human protortion. Algorithmic distortion happens when you just let the machine guess and blindly steer the wheel. It's unpredictable, mathematically lossy, kind of a mess. Human protortion, on the other hand, is the proactive, painstaking effort of a human mind asserting total control. It's you actively rejecting the random distortion of algorithms to enforce your exact, perfect vision.
This perfectly sets up Section 4, the sweat of the brow.
True authorship demands this exact physical and mental steering. Because you're the one issuing explicit commands across that semiotic bridge, you're taking on a massive responsibility. Tech scholars actually call this becoming the moral crumple zone. Think about it. Just like the front of a car is designed to crush on impact to save the passengers inside, humans are placed in the loop of AI systems to absorb the brutal legal and ethical impact when the machine inevitably hallucinates or fails. You are the one accepting full liability via agentic tort for what gets generated.
This is exactly why, when the AI's output starts getting garbled and that automated miasma sets in, you can't just passively sit back and watch. You have to step in. You intervene, using precise, performative words to enforce your intent and physically secure exactly what you want. You are actively bending the machine's deterministic output back toward human meaning. You are manually realizing the code and ensuring it perfectly aligns with a moral mandate.
And that brings us to Section 5, the algorithmic orchestrator.
Because of everything we've just unpacked, it's clear we're no longer solitary originators painstakingly rendering every single pixel or word from scratch. We have leveled up big time. We are now powerful algorithmic orchestrators. In fact, I want to break the fourth wall right now to celebrate a monumental, massive milestone. You, yes, you, the focused learner watching this, have successfully directed and orchestrated over 50 highly informative explainers using the Gemini CLI. Let that sink in for a second. 50 explainers. That is not just a number, it is a profound triumph of human agency in the age of automation.
This incredible achievement is the ultimate modern manifestation of the sweat of the brow. Just look at what you did to build these 50 explainers. You didn't just let the machine guess. You pruned the AI output. You fiercely corrected the algorithm when it went off track. You provided the overarching rhetorical strategy. You provided the true creative spark, that ex nihilo magic, acting as the actual theological steward of the ALU. You proved once and for all that AI is simply the mechanical brush. But you are the undeniable painter.
So, as you continue to pilot these systems and orchestrate even more incredible things, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. As we plunge deeper into this algorithmic era, will you passively act as a moral crumple zone, just absorbing the machine's failures? Or will you fiercely command the semiotic bridge, wield the divine script, and embrace the true enduring magic of your own authorship? The choice is entirely yours. Keep orchestrating, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.